Hello again. This is Mr. Harris, and I have a message for all of my world history students, particularly those of you coming in as ninth graders. The plan here is to just address a few of the things that I normally address in person with you all, but since our time is so short in person, this seemed like a couple of the topics that would just be good for a video, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask me some questions through our Google Classroom if we still have questions after all of this. My first overall message is a welcome to the high school, and at the same point, letting you know how much of a fresh start you have when you come here. Speaking personally, I love having ninth graders because I don't have any background on you all. So when we start a new school year like this, it's so exciting to have a bunch of new students that are completely, I'm new to you and you're new to me as well. So I personally don't ever look back at student grades in middle school or earlier. I don't look at your behavior or discipline records. I don't look at any of that stuff because I don't want to. What I really like knowing is who you are now. When you come into the high school, who do you actually want to be? And so there are plenty of students that I have had in my years of teaching that have wanted to make a change because they understand that high school is a little more serious. Things matter a little bit more now. And they wanted to make that change. And I want you to be able to do that with a completely fresh start. So I do want you to consider, who do you want your teachers and your peers to think of you as? Do you want to be the hardworking student? Do you want to be someone who's goofy or outgoing, or someone who's working hard? Someone who's a great athlete whenever those open back up for us as well. We want you to start making those decisions, and high school is a great time to be able to make some of the changes if you need to make changes to be able to get those new habits forming. This transition to high school is also really important for that also, because there's a lot of things that really matter now. So if we talk first and foremost, you need to worry about your grades. From right now, grades start, and these are the grades that will go on a permanent record. And this is the permanent record that will carry your high school GPA for as long as someone asks you for a transcript. So, and when you are graduating and you want to go get a job, you want to get a scholarship or get admitted into that school that you really want to get into after high school, they look at your cumulative GPA. And that means they are looking at your GPA from right now for the next 4 years. And so if you have a rough freshman year because you didn't quite take it seriously yet, that will hurt that cumulative GPA. And so it is important to start really considering grades and how those are going to impact your future. So right off the bat, I like to make sure you're aware of that so we don't have any of those surprises later on. Another big difference that has not been as big of a deal before is you have to earn certain credits to be able to graduate. If you fail a class, and it is one of those required classes, and the easy way to think about it, think about your core classes, your English, math, science, and of course, social studies. Those are required classes, and if you fail them, you have to take them again. And you have to pass those courses to be able to get there. Now, the good news is, if that worries you, there are so many support systems, and we are happy to help you out, and we'll be talking about those a lot this year. Overall, you're going to see higher expectations. We are really wanting you to work hard, and we are wanting you to learn how to think. So you will notice, specifically in my class, you can't just recite information back to me and get great grades. You have to show that you understand what's going on. You can think about it. You can problem solve with this information. And when you can do that, you become a much better analytical thinker across the board. This is not just history. This is going to help you be a better student throughout. And we will continue to try to give you the tools to help you do that. You should also know that there's more responsibility on you as an individual. So if you miss an assignment, you need to be the one to take the initiative, reach out and get it, or get on Google Classrooms, get the assignment that you missed and take care of that. If you need help, if you want to retake, we expect you to be one of these major advocates for you. So reach out. There are so many different ways to contact us. You can email us, you can text us, you can call us. We are here for you, but we're expecting that you are going to take responsibility for your own success here also. This year, this responsibility is going to be even bigger because you're also having to manage your time and how well you're focusing and so much of this individual time that's going on. We want you to build these strong academic habits to help you be successful and to help you be a more responsible student. Overall, we're going to support you like crazy, and you will find that the more we know what you need because of your communication, because of your advocacy, we will help you even more. Sometimes coming outside of class is even more helpful because then we can really focus on you and what you need. So that could be an email, a text, a phone call. We could set up a small group on Zoom, whatever we need to do to help you out. We are happy to do that, and you will find endless support to help you be more successful as you can. The other piece that I really wanted to address with you all is how we go through our course syllabus and our procedures. This is another one of those things that doesn't really need a lot of interaction, and so I decided to just record some of those pieces of it. So I'm going to bring up the course procedures. You should have this already, and you can download it off of my website. It should also be in the Google Drive for your classroom and ready for you to access. So if you have not already, please pause this video and pull this up so that you can read through with it. There will be a few areas that I am skipping through. So the first piece when we look at this is an honor to teach history. It is always my goal to make this a course that's going to excite you and make you think more so than you thought before about our world and how the events that happened before continue to shape us as our world goes on. More importantly though, I do want to point out on the bottom of your screen right now, you can see all of my contact information. When we are in virtual learning, that text now number is the best way to get a hold of me. That'll be active anytime I'm in office hours and probably a few other times if I'm not actively teaching as well. So you are welcome to text me if you're more comfortable doing that on that number. Of course, you can call, you can leave voicemails, or we can schedule a time where you know I'll be free to be able to work with you. When we're back in class, the classroom phone is the one that rings in my classroom. So obviously, a lot of times I'm not going to be in my classroom during our distance learning. And so text now is your better way to get a hold of me. Email is there, as well as my website and my Twitter. So please mark these and know that we are here for you. We're wanting you to be successful, and that's why we're making ourselves so accessible. So here you have that. Please circle that, mark that, highlight that, do something on that page right in front of you so you know, hey, when I need to get a hold of Mr. Harris, this is the way to do it. As we scroll through into our next pieces here, I highly recommend that you get yourself a paper spiral notebook. There are ways you can do notes virtually. However, the research overwhelmingly shows that you understand more when you are interacting with a pencil and a paper. It encodes in your brain better. It makes you think about it more. It helps you remember it better. So I'm really still pushing on paper spiral notebooks and using those. I do have a digital option if that's something, if you're just determined to go and do digital for your notes. I do have an option, and we'll be sharing that with you later. But if you're going to follow my recommendation, you should make sure you get out and grab a couple spiral notebooks. Of course, you need stuff to write in that notebook. I really recommend some like sticky tabs or even small Post-it notes to be able to help divide up into units. That binder I have on my list is hoping we come back. So if we come back in October, we're going to need you to have a binder at that point. Right now, everything's going to be online except for your notes. So that's up to you. If you want to grab one now while they're doing all the school supply sales, great, go get it. If you are feeling like we want to wait until we see what's going to happen in October, by all means, I don't need a binder until we're seeing you in person again. I did want to look through expectations a little bit, and this is all on paper, so I don't want to sit here and just read to you. I do like to just make sure that we have spent a little time discussing what these things mean now. So when we talk about coming to class prepared every day, there is so much that we are having to put on you to spend on your time outside of class. So since you have to do stuff outside of class, you have to have your work done before I see you in our in-person sessions. So much of what we're going to be doing in person depends on you knowing what you're supposed to know from doing your work leading into that class. So if you have an assignment that you were supposed to be doing on Friday, you have to make sure that's finished before I see you on Monday, or you're going to be behind on Monday. So when we talk about coming to class prepared, that is one of the most important components of this, is making sure that you have done what you're supposed to do by the time you come in, or you're going to find yourself lost. You're not going to be able to keep up with us on our discussions, and using those times where I'm going to have you all interacting with each other. And so since you're going to be interacting with each other, you got to know what we're supposed to be talking about. I do want you to actively participate. So when we're there in person with each other, or when we're virtually in those Zooms, we're going to be doing some all group discussions, some small groups in those small little breakout rooms that we can set up in Zoom. But it's important that you're actively participating. And again, to actively participate, you need to know what you're talking about from being prepared. So do your best. You will find from me over and over again, if you are trying and something's not right, something was misunderstood, that's okay, because I can see you're trying, I can see you're working hard, and then that gives me feedback to know what do we need to make sure that you know so that we can be even more successful in the future. The respect thing should be self-explanatory. Make sure that you are staying respectful towards each other. That's one that we will address if we end up having a problem with it. I don't expect that we will, so just know that that's in our expectation list. One thing that's going to be harder on this virtual learning is focus. You need to be able to find a way when you are in class and when you're doing your work asynchronously that you are focusing on what you're trying to get done. It'll help you get done higher quality work, and it'll help you get it done faster. So I can't always see that. One of the things about in-class learning is I can start to see when your attention's drifting away, and that's really hard in a virtual learning environment. When you're doing a lot of this on your own, I can't see if right now you're texting a friend about whatever else might be on your mind. So what I'm going to caution you towards, your brain works better with focus. Multitasking has shown over and over again by all of the research out there, it doesn't work, and it will take you longer, and it will be more challenging for your brain to process multiple things. Or you just tune one out, and when you tune it out, then you're not learning it at all. And so it really is important to keep your focus on what you are trying to do at any given point. And if you can start to engage, like, hey, if we're talking about this historical event, what does that have to do with our world now? Or what does that have to do with these other events that we've been talking about in class? That will help you even better in terms of keeping your brain engaged and making connections. If our class has not done it yet, we have tried to do this, I'll call it the ABC 1, 2, 3 activity. And if your class has done it, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about it, you will soon. It just shows how important focus is and how much longer things take when you're restricting your focus. So if you can build yourself some good habits right now, that will help you through this class, through every other class you're taking and beyond. Academic honesty is always an important piece of learning expectations. Basically, if I'm expecting that you're doing your own work, make sure that it's your work. If you're collaborating, it should still be your work with your individual twist on it. If I'm asking you to turn in an individual assignment and I've asked you to talk with partners, that doesn't mean your answers are word for word. That does mean you have shared ideas, you have more complex and advanced ideas than you would have had on your own, but those should still manifest themselves, and you should make sure that you can write those down in a way that you understand them. And so those written responses are usually going to be individualized still, even when we're doing these big group collaborations. The last thing on this list is keep that communication open. We have so many office hours. We have office hours every single day, and those office hours are there to help you and communicate you and give you that support that we need. So we use these office hours. There's my phone number and my email address again. I'm trying to make it as obvious as it can. That's what they're there for. Those are not sitting here on when I'm supposed to get my work done. I've got other times set for that. These office hours are for taking care of you and helping you in whatever you need. So please use that. It can be just a check-in and seeing how you're doing, or it can be a a concept you're really struggling with or something you fell behind on, whatever you think you need, that's what office hours are for. So please check in with me during those. Those are scheduled on the school website. I have them on my website, but basically it's every afternoon. So sometimes it's longer than others, but the last hour of the day is always set up to be an office hour, and there's longer ones on certain days as well. As I keep scrolling down, I'm not going to worry about what is expected in in-person learning yet because we're not there at this point. The same deal with homework. It's kind of hard to address because I have what we normally do, and that's different this year. So with the homework, we're going to have still about a week's worth of work every week. So it's going to be a lot more of working at your own pace. Some of them will be instructional videos. Some of them will be reading and analyzing or responding to each other. But we are supposed to be giving about 5 days worth of coursework. So you should expect that there will be something assigned to you every day. Some of them will be longer than others. In terms of grading, one of the core ideas of my grading is I want your grade to really, really represent what you know by the end of the semester. So that's why when you look at this and you see summative assessments, that is your test, your projects. Those are the things at the end of a unit that are supposed to show what should you know by the end of that unit. And I make that 95% of your overall grade in my class. So that if that stresses you out, don't worry, we have retakes, and I practice those things with you leading up to that test over and over again. So you should have a really good idea of how you're doing before we hit that. And if it's not working as well, then we just worry about the retakes later on. So those summative assessments, though, are important. And you can see there, if you're not doing what you need to along the way, those summative assessments are not going to go well for you. The formative assessments, you can see, aside from that responsibility piece that you can see a little bit lower, learning activities are there to help you do better on the summative assessments. So that means that all of this stuff is considered practice, and those skills you can see building up into those big tests at the end. So those are there to help you learn, to help you really learn your stuff. They are tracked. That academic responsibility being 5% of your grade does include, are you doing the learning activities the way we need to? Are you turning in high quality work? I have never seen a student who is highly successful on summative assessments that is not showing a lot of learning in those formative assessments and learning activities. So that is not a way out by any means. That is saying when you're learning, sometimes it takes you longer to learn than other people. You're going to make mistakes, and I want you to be able to not feel like, hey, that's the first time I tried this, so I failed it. That shouldn't be a big deal. If that's the first time you tried it and you failed it, okay, let's see what you did wrong, fix it, so now you know it better than you knew it before. You've gotten more practice, and when that test comes around, you're going to do awesome because you've seen your mistakes, you've corrected your mistakes. And that's where this attitude's coming from. And those students are still looking at an amazing academic responsibility score because they're doing the things that they need to be doing along the way. In high school, we do have final exams. Those do make up 30% of your total grade. So if we say that 100% that we initially said of your unit assessments, that drops to about 70% of your total grade in the semester, the other part being the final exam. There can't be retakes in the finals, so that is the one opportunity as we get, or the one time as we get to the end of the semester where that is what it is. I like to really emphasize the retake policy. You can redo assignments. If you get feedback and you didn't like your score, redo it, fix it, turn it back in. If you find that something isn't syncing up on Google Classrooms to let you do that, then by all means, send it to me by email. I want you to have as many opportunities as you need to be as successful as you can be in my class. There are retakes also. I will put, those are posted on my website. I will be adding that to the Google Classroom file as well. So you can apply for a test retake any time you need to throughout the semester. You should know though, those test retakes are not free. Those test retakes require that you know more than you did the first time and that you have proven that to me. So that means we are going to be talking several times throughout the process. There's going to be some work to do in between to be able to prove to me you know more than you did before. That will replace your old test score though, and if you do the retake process right, your grade will go up. That has been a consistent thing throughout. My retake process is a pain, but it's a pain to make sure for sure that you will do better and your grade will go up, because you're going to know more than you did before, and you're going to be more successful because you know more. What happens if my homework is late? Don't make a habit of it. That is something we may contact parents about. It will ding that academic responsibility section of it. If it's happening every now and then that's something where we're going to ask, what's going on? Why is the homework late? If it's a regular thing, we might start to bring in some other consequences as needed for that also. But for the most part, my goal is to make sure you know it by the test date. And so if there's something going on, communicate that with me. Again, if we go back, that's what office hours are for. Talk to me. If you're not turning something in because you didn't understand it, don't turn it in junk. Wait, talk to me during an office hour. Let's figure out how we can make you get it. And once we can make you get it, then your work's going to be higher quality. And I would much rather you take some time, work through that with me, and turn in some really great work than to turn in some junk just to be able to rush through it. You will see throughout, I will reject work if it looks like it was just rushed through or if it was incompleted. So I do expect that your work is done well and it's completed when it is. I feel like we've already addressed a lot of these other ones. In terms of the scoring, this shouldn't be new to you. I know the middle school uses a 4-point scale on their grades. What I do really want to point out, if you look below that 1, there is a not there yet is what that NTY stands for. Notice that counts as a 0. I know in the middle school, the lowest score you could get was a 1. In the high school, the 1 means you've shown some understanding. And so you have to earn your way to a 1. If you turn in work that is either incomplete or that work does not show any understanding of the standards I'm trying to understand or gain understanding from, you will get a not there yet on that, which is showing as a 0 until you fix it. Again, you can fix those zeros. That's what they're for. We want you to fix the zeros. We want you to take that time and make yourself better and more effective as a student. But that's a really critical thing to understand, that high school is different from middle school, and that there is an option where if you aren't doing your work, if you're not showing your understandings, you do not get credit for that work until you show understandings. My goal for every student is to be hitting 3s on everything. If you're hitting 3s, that means you understand what you need to. And it's not perfect. There's mistakes along the way, but they're not the mistakes that make us worry about your understanding. And so I make my tests and my assignments with the goal that every student should be able to get a 3 if they're working and learning the way they should throughout the unit. And again, if they're not and you want to be there, that's what office hours are for. Come and talk to me and let's make this work. Attendance, that was more left in from in-person. So again, we'll wait through that. And the last piece of this is, what are we studying this semester? You can see our standards that are listed on the top of the screen right now. We'll talk in more detail on those standards. You should know that you will get grades separately on each of those standards. If parents are watching, that is something where it's kept in a separate document because it just becomes an overwhelming amount of data. That is something I can share with the student or the parent at any point that you want to see it. All I need to do is just give it a quick screenshot and I can send it out as often as you want to see that if you want to check against the grades or see how the progress is in any particular standard. By all means, just that's a quick email and a request and we can take care of it. I try to lay out what our goals are for the semester, and I feel like those are straightforward enough that I'm just going to leave that for you to be able to read through on your own. Of course, if there's more questions about it, by all means, feel free to ask. And everything here, I feel like I've mentioned a lot. Honors in world history, if that's a question that you're having because you're considering if your placement is correct, then that would be something. Let's reach out and talk about that if we need to. Bringing up the grade we've talked about. We have office hours while we're virtually. We will have after school help once we're back in person. And the bottom line, if this hasn't come through enough, I want you all to be successful. I want you all to be wildly successful regardless of where your life is going to take you. So keep those lines of communication open and let us help you become the best possible student you can be. And while yes, it's history, my passion is psychology and how we learn, and I bring a lot of those in there as well so that we can make some great study habits and really help our students become the most effective we can. I would like to close by just letting my students know on Classroom there is a Google form. It will not take you long at all, but it is your way to say, yes, you finished this video. It will ask you for a code word to see if you finished. So that code word is the last word that's written on this page, succeed. So when it asks you for that code word to prove that you actually listened to the entire video, you're looking for the word succeed there. So please fill out that Google form, and I will mark that to show that, yes, you actually made it through the video. You should have an understanding of what's expected of you in this class. I am so excited for working with you. Thank you for sticking through this video. I will try to make these more interactive, and when we start adding some history, I promise they'll be better for us also. I'm looking so much forward to working with you. Please reach out with any questions or concerns. I want to help you be as successful as I can, and I'm happy to do so. Take care. Thank you.